Titanoboa is not only really speedy and agile, it can also fight its corner pretty well. It's definitely earned a point in the fighting skills section.
Not if it can't wrap around the shark. It can't wrap around the shark.
Thank you so much for joining me this evening and another installment of SciFails, where we look at some poorly researched, poorly presented, and sometimes downright deceptive science videos found in the YouTube sphere. This is another segment brought to us by Brightside, which does some very bad science videos. And the problem is that they're supposed to be educational and they're supposed to be for kids. So this one, from what I watched, I would like, at least they got the measurements and time frames right on this one. They didn't on the last one, which was the last time I covered Brightside. It was the Gigantopithecus versus T-Rex. And this one is going to be definitely another mismatch. So, and I will explain why in just a moment. But let's get right into it because this should be some good stuff.
Be a very unusual match, but I bet it'll also be spectacular and
These models are awful. I'm not pretending that they're supposed to be great or anything, but yes, that was the one with the Kung Fu. That's exactly right. But these models, we got Megalodon and Titanoboa, right? And they are both battling out in the arena of Brightside, which is always nothing's ever a fair fight, it seems like.
intense. In the left corner, we have Megalodon. This species went extinct about 3 million years ago, but there are good...
Well, I got 10 seconds in. 3.6 million years ago. So I could be nice, but you're off by 500,000 years when it's only 3.5 million years long. So time frame. So that's being off by a large margin, considering when this creature lived.
Good reasons why it's now a legendary animal. It's the biggest shark that ever existed, and it was a super powerful predator.
Was it though? Was it the biggest shark that ever existed? Potentially.
In its time. And a round of applause for our contender in the right corner, Titanoboa. This one's way bigger than any other snake. It lives in the swamps of Colombia, and it's the real boss of the area. Titanoboa can eat absolutely any
Boss babe. Yeah, the girls are bigger, so it's a boss babe because it's a boid.
animal it decides to hunt, and it faces no competition. It can swallow a giant turtle or even a crocodile. It looks
depending on how big the turtle or the crocodile is. It's not meant for. It can't take off chunks of anything. It has to whatever it eats, it has to swallow whole, just like any other snake. So, yeah, there's been a lot of evidence that that Titanoboa was a piscivore too. So there's that, which would make it more like my little my beloved file snakes and elephant trunk snakes, which are stupid adorable. Oh man, I wish I could pull up a picture and show you how adorable they are. Hold on, let me see, because someone tagged me or someone reacted to it just recently. They're so cute. It's too cute. I can't take it. Here we go. Hold on. Let me pull this over. Gotta shrink this down real quick. This is an elephant trunk snake, and they are so freaking adorable. They're like basically fully aquatic. They're piscivores. They do constriction. They aren't closely related to the pythons and boids though. They're their own thing. And they look like a wrinkly elephant trunk, but they got a cute little snoot. Look at that snoot. Isn't that adorable? That's the snoot. That's the snoot of the champion right there. And this leaves on its head like a little flower on its brow. So that really sells its adorableness. But look at those doe eyes. The eyes face upwards, obviously, because it's an aquatic animal. But they're big and kawaii eyes. So they're stupid cute. Yeah, sharks don't fossilize well. We have some vertebra, and we have billions of teeth, not billions. We have, lots of meg teeth.
Looks like a modern boa, but behaves like an anaconda. And that's a very scary mix. But can it stop a giant shark?
All right, so I have this here so that we can compare these two. Not with their wonky models, but actually how the animals are believed to have looked. Here's a very large, but based on their measurements, we're going to get into that in a bit. But here's the comparison of the two. So we'll let them break it down.
Let's start by looking at their sizes. We still don't know about megalodons.
Anacondas are boas. Yeah, they're a specific group or clade of boas. But yeah, they are boids or boids. I've always questioned how you say that with those two eyes, and they're boids. But yeah, it includes boas and anacondas are the two groups in there. But it's all boas. There's some wonderfully beautiful boas too, but not like rubber boas. Rubber boas are also their own thing. Snakes are complicated, but
its exact size,
sharks,
because the only remains of them that have survived are just fossilized.
That is not how a shark's spinal column looks. That'd be like a whale right there. Sharks, it looks like a oil filter from an old car. That's exactly what it looks like.
Backbones and teeth. But scientists generally think this monster was about 50 feet long. So it wasn't just the biggest shark that ever existed.
See, this is the measurement I went with because they included that. So that's why in my slide I included the 50-foot Megalodon. Because they say that that Megalodon has to be this size. When I think that there's actually a happy medium. Oh, not that. Let's see. Did I get it on here? I guess not. I had made one up where because the actual the modal measurement for Megalodon is not 50 feet. It's 34 feet. So presenting it just which is 11.8 meters, I think. But just wanted to point that out, that this is like a larger than average Megalodon, and we only have the hollow type of Titanoboa, so it's just that one piece of spine to give us an idea how big that snake was. And it could not compete. It couldn't even wrap around a Megalodon. Anyway.
Existed, but also one of the biggest fish of its time. Its closest rival is the modern whale shark, but they're only about 40 feet. The giant Titanoboa got so big thanks to a lucky coincidence. Snakes are cold-blooded animals, so they need a warm climate to live and grow in. Northeastern Colombia is perfect. It was about 90 degrees when Titanoboa was alive.
That's like the mean temperature. Yeah, right. So this was a period, it's about 60 to 58 million years ago. Right? And the dinosaurs had recently gone extinct. So everything else was small. There were snakes around, right? And they were able to thrive. This ecosystem in the upper South America had monstrous crocodiles. I think there was some Beckid crocs too, if I remember correctly. Correct me if I'm wrong, definitely. And there were giant turtles, some of the biggest turtles that have ever lived, and obviously our giant snake, and also a variety of giant fish. Now, Did it eat crocodilians and turtles? I mean, modern anacondas do, so there's no reason to believe that this one would not, that this creature would not have. It seems reasonable to infer that it would not have eaten the larger organisms larger than itself at all. It would not have even wanted to tangle with anything that it couldn't swallow. Now, what could it swallow? A lot. There's a lot of. It's a huge snake, and it can. The bottom jaws of snakes are not. They're like two arms, just with a skin membrane between them, with two hooks on them, and they're able to pull independently. So snakes can. They don't have hands, but they got those. They can manipulate stuff into their mouths pretty good. Now, this model is awful, but we'll get into that in just a minute.
This helped it grow to an incredible 42 feet in length. Titanoboa.
That is a good measurement for it, because a lot of people put 47 feet, and that's ridiculous.
Boa could easily swallow the longest snake registered in the Guinness Book of Records, which is only about 25 feet.
I believe the longest snake in the Guinness Book of World Records, again, if I'm wrong, correct me, is the reticulated python, which is 33 feet, more than 25 feet. But unless that's been redacted for some reason, that is not only the longest snake in the world, it's also what was I going to say? The arboreal, so it wouldn't weigh anywhere near as much as an anaconda, though, of like 2/3 of the length, right? Because anaconda, they get up to about 17 feet, 18 feet maybe, at the biggest. And when they're that big, an anaconda is almost as big as around as like bigger than a basketball. It's huge. They swallow goats and capybara and stuff. They're absolutely massive and thick, whereas reticulated python of the same weight as the largest anaconda would be as big around as a coffee can for the most part. And reticulated pythons are actually, whereas anacondas are aquatic, and a place where being limbless is awesome and makes you efficient, the reticulated python is arboreal, where being limbless and streamlined is also incredibly efficient. Yeah, the world record for the length of reticulated python is a whopping 32 feet and 9 inches. See, they're shortchanging the python here to boost up the Titano, I guess.
Feet long, and that's a big gulp. So we have 50 feet versus 42. The first point goes to Megalodon. What about weight?
But at their modal length, which the modal length for the Titanoboa can only be the current 42 feet model, right? But the modal length for a Megalodon, again, is 34 feet. So if they were actually honest about the modal length, which is what's important when it comes to a species, if they're just talking about, oh yeah, the biggest Megalodon possible versus the biggest Titanoboa possible, based on what knowledge we have, that's a little different. Citation for that, Brian Stevens. I don't think I've ever heard of an anaconda exceeding 25 feet. There's some questionable reports that anacondas have reached those types of lengths, but I don't think there's ever been a substantiated claim of that length or that weight. I don't, as far as I know, 350 pounds is the official. Absolutely, please. You got a wrench if you got a citation for me on that. Smithsonian. Hold on. Let me see here. Anaconda. We're going to do the green anaconda because that's the big one. The yellow anaconda is huge too. Make no mistake about it. I might as well show you guys what I'm doing too while we're at it. So here's how you use Wikipedia. Also, this is a good resource for finding citations. Yeah, for the anaconda, this limit is estimated at 22 feet in total length. What's our citation on that? the life history of green anaconda with emphasis on reproductive biology, and the food habits of Brazilian boa snakes overview. So let's go check that out. And accept all cookies. And we're gonna search for, what was it, 22? Talk to us about the length, material method. Because I know that back in like the 90s and stuff, there was reports that they made it into the Guinness Book of World Records and stuff of this anaconda in captivity that was allegedly 500 pounds and such, and upwards of 25 feet long, and that someone actually ended up coming to measure it, and it turned out to be BS. Because I was part of that Carnivora forum at the time. I was like one of the administrators, and that's what the Snake Bros was. It was their champion in their interspecies conflict, because it could go but they'd like say, oh, anaconda can take a lion and stuff because it's 550 pounds, and things like that. And it was really, and they always cite the snake and I know that's where the 550 pounds comes from, but they'd always cite that snake. Here, I don't know if I can launch that from here or not. Yeah, go to site. Yeah, there we go. Green anaconda, 30 feet, 9 meters. Okay, 12 inches. But it doesn't give a citation for that information though, because the Smithsonian's not like a zoological journal. Just and I'm not saying that something new might not have come out, but
I just want to find the official data on it. 550 pounds. Two men paddled within inches of a 30-foot anaconda that looks simply prehistoric. I think we've seen this before, right? I don't want to watch for the ads. So I think that's the...
Yeah, because I know there's lots of videos out there like, oh, 10-meter anaconda and stuff. That one that's always shown is actually not even a green anaconda, it's a yellow anaconda. I'm wondering if that's the one they're talking about here, but I don't want to watch their ads. Let's see. Thank you for sending me down this rabbit trail, Brian. I like exploring this stuff.
Agora sim, ó, eu tô levando lá o senhor Misael lá pra nós ver uma minhoquinha ali, tá? Ele vai... Eita!
Ela é bem grande.
Grande mesmo, né?
Ela é bem grande.
Seu Misael. Ó, a cicatriz ali, pessoal, ó. Eu consegui ver, não sei se dá pra ver ali. A cicatriz... É um filhote ainda?
É um filhote.
Filhote. Lá
I don't
foi
know
a...
what they're saying here, but
Filhote de aproximadamente.
you should just leave it alone and let it eat, I would say.
Porque é muito grande você ver esse animal passando por baixo de você. Nós estamos aqui numa espécie de
These
caiaque.
headphones are pulling
Daí
my
ela tá
hair all
aqui
wonky.
na toca dela. Vamos ver se dá pra ver aqui a parte dela.
What are you doing?
corpo dela
Just
aqui.
leave it alone.
Parte do corpo dela fiada aqui. Que ela sujou a água
All right, we're not
Tá
gonna
aqui
watch
dentro.
any more of that.
da toca. A sucuri gigante.
Stop
Que eu tô...
See, there's the 30-foot anaconda claim. 33 feet long. That's 900 pounds on that one. Well, I agree. I generally would be okay with the Smithsonian if I hadn't had to research this to settle disputes. Back in it wasn't recently or anything, like 2013, and at that point in time there was no credible source for an anaconda over 22 feet long, like no credible cited measurement of one that big. And the one that was alleged to be that size was actually was much shorter. It's like 21.6 feet or something like that. And there was a display at like a reptile expo place, and it was their famous snake. I can't remember what her name was. Let's see. Maybe it'll bring her up. Record-breaking anaconda snake. Heaviest anaconda recorded was 227 kilograms. That's huge. Let's see, what do we have here? Yes, I'll accept your cookies. Oh my gosh, it's so cute. Look how cute it is. Boop, boop. I want to boop it. A boop. Oh. Because yeah, if I'm wrong, because I've put it on my, again, I have my measurements here, and I have the anaconda on here with its current length as we know it. The anaconda's here's the middle one. The bottom one is our reticulated python, and the top one is Titanoboa. Obviously, I got them labeled on here. It is okay. There's reticulated python, longest of the. Oh, yeah, sorry. Reticulated python live in Southeast Asia. Blah blah blah. The longest and heaviest snake to ever be recorded, to ever be held in captivity, I should say, was a reticulated python called Medusa, who was 7.67 meters long and weighed 158 kilometers. Green anacondas are also exceptionally long snakes, but also subject to exaggerated length myths in the past. With snakes of over 24 meters allegedly being sighted. Yeah, that's ridiculous. 24 meters? Come on now. In reality, the green anaconda rarely exceeds 6.25 meters. And how big do I have mine? 6.25. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got about just under 6 meters for mine. So, yeah, that's probably reasonable. Did you say weight in kilometers? Did I say I said kilometers? 158 kilograms. Yeah, I do. I like making these graphs. Here's the Megalodon compared to the great white shark and the whale shark. Again, great white shark's another species that gets exaggerated a lot in pop culture and in pop science, when their actually average size is more like this. Still huge. I mean, you run into this shark, you're not gonna forget it. And whale sharks are absolutely enormous. Yep, I do like making these graphs. The longest venomous snake is the king cobra. They're like 18 feet long, I think. Eventually it grew 5.7 meters. No, Brian, I'm having, hope I didn't run you off. I wasn't like trying to challenge what you said. It was just something that I was hoping to find out that they'd found it, or that they measured one that was bigger. Because I want there to be, green anacondas are the heaviest snakes in the world. The heaviest anaconda ever recorded was 227 kilograms. That's huge. And 8.43 meters long. So that would put it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 to about right here. So that did make quite a difference if that was the if that's the maximum length. This is definitely more like the average size, but having it out to here, I wouldn't, yeah, if it was, and the 227 kilograms, I think that matches what, whoops, Brian's link here, Smithsonian, here we go. Yeah, so it matches up pretty close to what, the 550 pounds, and is shy of 30 feet though. 28 feet would be closer based on that measurement, but if they're rounding, you know. Yeah, I definitely. I know you like being challenged on stuff. I don't disagree. The Smithsonian as a resource either. I just I would like to track down the citation for the size on it because I want to know where this individual was weighed and all that. You know, that's just the kind of nerd I am. I keep all this stuff in files. I don't much debate in those groups anymore, but I do like having these conversations. And I would love to actually have, like, instead of everybody always debating about religion all the time, to do some debate stuff like this. Like, what is the heaviest anaconda? Let's get back over here, though. Now, the feathered anaconda can get to the size of the Appalachian Mountains. That is true. Roger proved it.
Titanoboa is about 2,500 pounds. That's heavier than a small car, including the passengers. But it might be even heavier if you run into Titanoboa after it's had lunch.
It's going to be less aggressive, though. It's not going to want to mess with anything. It's going to want to hide if it's just eaten. Because snakes don't fight on a full stomach. If you challenge a snake, well, after it's just eaten, after it's got its belly full, it'll have to throw up its meal before it can fight you. Snakes are not good combatants at all. In any context, they are not fighters. They are ambush predators, like every single one of them. The closest thing to a fighting snake is a black mamba. And the only reason they're so effective is because they have the dominating painful venom. Do we scare you with the snakes, Sandy?
In that case, you can add a few 100 pounds more from the turtle or the alligator that it just swallowed.
Yeah, but you don't. Again, it has to puke those up before it can fight. So we don't want to add. We don't want to give it a full tummy. It's going to be bad for him.
If you put Titanoboa on some very large scales, you'd need 5 giant anacondas on the other side to balance them out. But Megalodon is an incredible 50 times heavier than Titanoboa. The average adult female weighs between 27 and 59 tons. That's as much as an empty Boeing 737 airplane. And that's without carry-on luggage either. Luckily,
yeah, so the weight disparity here is freaking... I still got my graph up there, sorry. I think my art's better than theirs anyway here. Even though mine's much more simple. It's more accurate. So, again, the weight disparity is unsurmountable here, just like it was with the T-Rex and the Gigantopithecus. Just way too much.
enough, Megalodon can't fly. So obviously, Megalodon wins in the weight category. Right. That's one more point to the ancient
orders of magnitude. More
shark. Although having such a large weight makes it difficult for the shark to move, and also means it's a little clumsy. Which leads us to our next...
What is this? What is that based on, that it's slow and clumsy? Modern sharks aren't slow and clumsy. There was a time where we thought dinosaurs were slow and clumsy too, but they're not. Large sharks do have... I mean, the heftier you are, the more slower you are to turn. But I wouldn't refer to Megalodon as slow or clumsy.
Category: speed and agility. Megalodon can swim at about 16 feet per second. That's enough to make it the ultimate predator. But it's still slower than plenty of other species. If Megalodon was
1.2 miles an hour would be like its cruising speed, right? So it's pretty slow. There's an article called Megaslowdon. Let's see. Here, I'll show you. But so maybe they are right about it being slow, but about clumsy, I don't know about that. See, this one's citing, HiveScience is citing 3.1 in 2022, but this Daily Mail is citing 1.2. Saying previously it was 3.1. So let's look and see what papers that's from. And they're using like a 65-foot Megalodon model. It's so disingenuous. 65 foot is just not even. I don't know. Again, modal size is probably what we're going to go off of. Generally, when we're talking about these interactions, but even at modal size, the shark's like so much bigger than the snake. It's not even funny. Did I lose my article already? What? I'm trying to find your citations, my friend. What's Professor Shimada? Okay, where's the link though? You should link to his article, but you have a link to frickin' Michael Phelps, but you don't have a link to the guy you're interviewing or their paper. Is it this one? Megalodon was not as a cold-blooded killer. This list is 60-foot giant shark too. Just wild that 65 foot on this one. Yeah, 20 meters. Whereas 50 foot's definitely more reasonable. Probably hitting the maximum size is around 50 foot. But obviously they don't have a citation outside of this guy says so. So what are we gonna do? You guys want to look? You want to look up Professor Shimada and see what he has to say about Megalodon speed. Extinct Alert, Science Daily. There we go. A new study reveals the iconic Megalodon, or megatooth shark, was a rather slow cruiser that used its warm-bloodedness to facilitate digestion. Okay. All right, let's get back to the video. I'm distracted by all these different citations that aren't.
In a pool, and Usain Bolt was running along next to it, he would be twice as fast. His top speed is almost 40 feet per second. Now, a sailfish, which is the fastest sea creature, can reach
the fastest living sea creature. No, I'm being pedantic
about
there.
100 feet per second. Megalodon's size and weight make it turn really slowly, just the same as a large truck. So, when it attacks, the shark has only one chance to strike. If it misses, it has to go around for a second attempt.
I hate these teeth, because we know exactly what Megalodon teeth look like. More than anything else about Megalodon, we know what its teeth look like. It does not look like a forest of cones. If this was green, I'd think this was an evergreen forest here. This is ridiculous. We know exactly what this shark's dentition looked like. We've reconstructed it hundreds of times across museums around the world, and these people building these 3D models. Yes, I'll hydrate. And these people building these 3D models are not able to reference this actual shark and its anatomy.
This gives its prey more than enough time to run away. Titanoboa isn't that fast either, especially on land. But when the giant snake is in the water, it can swim at a speed of up to 12 miles per hour. Not much.
I mean, that's based on the anaconda's speed. Yeah, I don't disagree that the snake's going to be slow, especially on land. If it even spent time on land doing anything besides basking, I'd be surprised. I think that considering how warm the environment was too, maybe basking wasn't such a chore. So that as well. Now, in the water, anacondas are freaking crazy agile. Like they tie you in knots. They're so...
But enough for it to escape from Megalodon if it needs to. It's learned to swim so well because water is its main hunting ground. And because Titanoboa is a snake, duh, it also has incredible mobility. It can wriggle around and change direction very quickly, so it can easily dodge Megalodon's bite. So here's the first point for Titanoboa. The score is 2-1 in favor of Megalodon.
For mobility, what's it gonna do? It can run. That's about it. That's the best Titanoboa the best option Titanoboa has here is to run and try to hide where this where the thick shark cannot get to it. Because once again, this is the size comparison. These are what these two organisms look like side by side.
Next section, fighting skills. Megalodon is incredibly smart. It can change tactics depending on what kind of prey it's hunting. Scientists have found teeth markings from Megalodon on some whale fossils. These show that the giant sharks aim their bites at their prey's vital body parts to take them out quickly. Other remains of Megalodon's victims have multiple fractures. This is because Megalodon performs a super powerful ram.
Right, they do the same way great whites when they're out in the open ocean. Swim around underneath, get right underneath, and then go straight up and hit you in the soft underbelly and do a devastating bite. And then they just like swim away and kind of circle around underneath, waiting for you to bleed out. And once you're dead, they come back up to feed. They don't fight. They're not fighting animals. They do a hit, and sometimes they're successful, and sometimes they're not, but they do a hit.
Attack that can knock almost anything out. In fact, this 50-ton beast can easily smash through concrete walls.
Because there was so much concrete around during the period that Megalodon lived in that we know it could crash through concrete walls. Where is the... Citations. There's no citations in this video, by the way. I mean, we can go look down here and see. And stock material. And it doesn't have a single source for the information. But we'll continue on.
Though Megalodon's opponents don't really stand a chance. Some of them prefer to first damage the tails and fins of the whale they're hunting. This stops it from escaping, letting the huge predator finish off its defenseless victim. Now, what can Titanoboa do in response? The giant snake isn't poisonous, but...
So, at this point, I'm sure everybody's expecting me to be like, venomous, not poisonous, but I accept that, that venom is a type of poison. It poisons your system when it's injected into you. So I don't mind venom being called poison. It'd be worse and more egregious to call all poisons venom. So I'm in camp, all venom is poison, but not all poison is venom.
This doesn't stop it from hunting prey up to 4 meters long. Its bite has a very special design. The structure of its teeth and jaws lets Titanoboa really...
Up to 4 meters long, huh? So 1, 2, 3, 4. So about that long. That's shark's gonna be a little bit out of your range there, buddy.
Clamp down on the body of its prey, so there's no escape. When hunting, Titanoboa uses similar tactics to an anaconda or a boa. By that,
Constriction.
I mean it uses its powerful muscles and weight to stop its prey from moving. It deploys all of its strength to take away the animal's energy,
But
making it
again, it doesn't matter that it uses constriction if it's not long enough to wrap around the organism it's trying to constrict. If it's not long enough to make a full circle around the shark, more than 1 1/4 times, constriction is going to be fairly useless here.
helpless. So, Titanoboa is not only really speedy and agile, it can also fight its corner pretty well. It's definitely earned a point in the fighting skills section.
Not if it can't wrap around the shark. It can't wrap around the shark. How is it going to fight? It's fighting skills. It's like it's like because a human's trained in karate, they can't fight an elephant.
The score is now 2-2.
I'm not exaggerating. The weight difference between a Titanoboa and a Megalodon is not too much different than between a human and an Indian elephant. Disparity.
That's a tie going into the final round. We've got one more section before we find out which of these ancient monsters will win. Up now is fighting tools. Apart from its ramming power, Megalodon has something else up its sleeve, even though it really doesn't have arms or wears a coat. Let's take a look at its jaw.
At least you're looking at real shark teeth now instead of whatever your horrid model with its cone teeth are. It looks like a sand tiger shark's teeth.
Its teeth are about 7 inches long.
Big old
That's
teeth.
an absolute record for all known shark species in the world.
They show a whale shark, even though whale shark have like such reduced teeth that they're just like a ridge.
Megalodon has about 250 of these deadly pointy things arranged in 5 rows. They're also really sharp, which helps it penetrate the thick
Serrated.
skin of big animals like whales. Megalodon's jaws are 6.5 feet wide, and it has one of the strongest bites of any animal on the planet. Not only are they super dangerous, Megalodon's teeth are also really valuable.
But that's
One
not a
of these
Megalodon tooth.
ancient
We have plenty of pictures and videos of Megalodon tooth, but you show someone examining a theropod tooth. Interesting choice.
incisors was once found in Western Australia. The location where it was dug up was kept secret, but this didn't stop intruders from stealing it. It's probably in someone's private collection by now, and sadly, scientists missed the chance to learn something new about Megalodon.
I think that these Megalodon teeth are so common in the Chesapeake Bay that you can just go free dive and get as many as you want. I mean, not saying that they're not rare in Australia, or that there may not be some unique information they could have garnered from this one in Australia, but they're so common that they're in the Chesapeake Bay area that they're used for indexing, and you can actually see them as a chrono species moving from Megalodon or Ototus Megalodon from Ototus Megalodon to, let me see here. It was boom. Megalodon. Okay, so it was Ototus. Was it Ablucus or Arucalatus? One of those two. It's the ancestor of Megalodon. Where we see them as a chronospecies, the transition from one to the other.
Titanoboa also has a mean set of teeth.
And doesn't have giant fangs in the front of its mouth at all. It's a boid. Rear-fanged. And not giant vampire fangs either.
They're thin and pointed like needles. They bend inwards in the snake's jaw like fishing hooks. This little feature helps Titanoboa get a grip on its prey and prevent
And it's going to be absolutely useless against a giant shark.
the slightest chance of it running or swimming away. If the animal tries to pull itself free, it will only hurt itself even more. And remember that Titanoboa is incredibly agile, so it can strike with that bite at an incredible speed. Now, it's time for the fight itself. Titanoboa never swims in the open sea, but here Megalodon has gotten lost and ended up in a shallow, swampy area off the coast of Colombia.
So it is in a swamp outside of in Colombia. So we have to nerf the Megalodon and put it in like a salt marsh to contend with the snake, to give the snake an advantage, which it would have in a marshy environment like this, because there'd be places to hide and move through and disorient your opponent.
In water like this, Megalodon finds it even harder to move around. It could bite Titanoboa just once, and the fight would be over.
So here it's showing the snake is capable of wrapping around the shark, but I don't know if that's actually the case. And they didn't talk about senses here, but both these animals have interesting senses, like sensory perception. With the shark having the electro signaling that it can pick up on, and really from really far away, and the snake has some levels of heat vision in its pits on its face.
But because the shark moves so much slower than the snake, for now, he doesn't get the chance to snap those enormous jaws. Titanoboa starts attacking Megalodon.
I don't think that Titanoboa could wrap around Megalodon, because I keep showing this again and again, but look at the size disparity here.
But it can't do much damage to that thick skin with its sharp but very short teeth. Eventually, Megalodon gets its chance and ends the fight with a single bite. It turns out that those huge teeth were what really...
That is the truth about this battle. It would end in one bite, but I don't think the snake would ever get a chance to wrap around the Megalodon and try to chomp on it with its teeth. I don't think that would happen. I think it would have... Well, yeah, the boids don't have pits. They have... let me see here. So... Here, let me bring this over. So I got this coming up here. And it said boid in the... Didn't it say boid? Is it not letting me search the actual article? I don't think. Well, let me search words that are in here. Yeah, boid snakes, pythons, and the other members of the family Boidae. I guess so. Boidae goes beyond just boid, doesn't it? Let's see. Titanoboa. So Titanoboa is Boidae, and Boidae Boidae includes some of the world's largest snakes. So Boidae is infrared sensitivity, but is it talking, when it says boids, does it mean Boidae, or do we mean, because boid has, okay, so, yeah, pythons are excluded from Boidae. They aren't boids. So this paper about detecting infrared by Eric A. Newman and Peter Hartline indicates that boids do have some kind of heat-sensing pits. Maybe not the same ones as pythons. All snakes of the superfamily, or of the subfamily Crotolinae, the pit vipers, have pit organs and are sensitive to infrared radiation. Cottonmouths, copperheads, pythons, and many other members of the family Boidae, boid snakes, distant relatives of the pit vipers, also have heat-sensitive pits. In contrast to pit vipers, they have many pits on the scales bordering the mouth, as many as 13 pairs. Infrared sensitivity in pit vipers and boid snakes has apparently evolved from the somatic sensory organ. In man and other animals, this system is concerned with the sensation of, among other things, touch, pressure, temperature, and pain. Okay. So they have some kind of sensory advantage over the shark here as far as being able to see like an infrared, I think, based on what I'm reading here. But as far as, yeah, I know pythons have, like, their face looks like a croc. They have so many pets. Anyway, back to the video. Thank you for, again, I don't mind being challenged on this stuff, guys. Bring it up in the side chat and I'll look into it. I liked researching this stuff. I like talking about these. That's why I make these videos. We're almost at 3 hours now.
Really mattered in this competition. Chew on that for a while. That's 3-2 and a victory to the giant shark.
Yes, definitely a victory for the giant shark.
This is going to be a very...
Definitely a victory for the giant shark because it's a lot bigger than the competition. Like, oh, keep going out of there. But I wanted to go back over my slides here real quick, give more comparison with the measurements that they've given here. Now, with the modal measurements of the Megalodon, we would probably be looking at more of a match similar to like a great white shark versus green anaconda situation, which is more like this, which would definitely be a more a closer fight. I mean, like, seriously, look at the comparison here, comparison there. Definitely a closer fight with the great white and the anaconda, even though it's still a huge mismatch, and that anaconda is just going to be a meal. Probably put up less of a fight than your average seal. But this would just be predation. It wouldn't even be a fight. But yeah, here's comparison of Titanoboa, green anaconda, and reticulated python. I'm going to do some research today and see if I need to up that anaconda's scale, but I'll have to look for a citation on it. So I'm gonna add citations in on these scales, and I'm gonna start putting them up on my YouTube channel for fun. Anyway, that was some SciFails for you today. Hopefully you enjoyed the show. It's been a bit of a wild ride, but yeah, I think that this was a mismatch. Please remember to be kind, take care, and we'll see you next time.